There's something quite special and mysterious about seashells and the creatures that once inhabited them. Their rich variety of sizes, shapes and colours have inspired artists, writers and thinkers for generations. Seashells have played an important part in fine art. Botticelli's The Birth of Venus, painted in 1480, depicts the goddess of love standing on a scallop shell and is one of the artist's most celebrated works. Shells were admired by Renaissance architects for the perfection of their structure. Their shapes often inspired the design and adornment of buildings. Like here at Stanway House in Gloucestershire, built around 1620, designed by renowned Jacobean architect Inigo Jones. Leonardo da Vinci studied and drew the perfect spiral construction of shells that are said to have been the inspiration for the famous spiral staircase of the Château de Blois in northwest France. By the mid-17th century, the courts of Louis XIV and Louis XV had become obsessed with shell motifs. They were depicted in paintings, sculpture, furniture, and landscaping, which the French called rocaille. This gave rise to the word rococo, which is widely used to define the period. Here in the UK, the fashion for shells and shell collecting reached its zenith towards the end of the 18th century. From the father of English ceramics, Josiah Wedgwood, onwards, every potter of note has included the shell design in their repertoire. So too have furniture designers such as Robert Adam and silversmith Nicholas Sprimont. Nowhere is the trend better seen than in the construction of the Royal Pavilion in Brighton, built by John Nash for George, the Prince Regent, in 1787. On a somewhat more modest scale, work on the Grade II listed Shell House at Bicton began in 1842. It was financed by Lady Louisa Rolle and her nephew, the Honourable Mark Rolle, and completed in 1845. The Victorians were no less frivolous with shell designs, but perhaps somewhat more enthusiastic and sentimental about shell collecting itself. With a growth of interest in natural history and the popularity of foreign travel, especially among the elite, it was not surprising that shell collecting, and particularly specimens from foreign climes, became something of an obsession. Lady Louisa's husband, Lord John Rolle, owned around 7,000 acres of cotton plantations on the Exuma archipelago in the Bahamas. These were largely run by enslaved African labour, comprising some 350 men and women. Although it is said that John Roll himself never set foot on Exuma, he would doubtless have been aware of the abundance of sea life in the warm subtropical waters surrounding Exuma's 365 islands and keys, providing a haven for avid shell collectors. As more and more specimens were gathered and shipped back to Bicton, so the need of a purpose-built structure in which to display the collection prompted construction of the shell house we see today. Built from irregular lumps of flint, its almost primeval appearance and secluded location characterizes the Rolls' fascination with the natural world. With the eventual decline in cotton prices, together with the passing of the Slavery Abolition Act in 1833 and the UK Emancipation Act a year later, Lord John's withdrawal from Exuma marked closure of a chapter on the darker side of the Rolls family history. Even so, the Roll name lives on in Exuma. Following a somewhat bizarre custom of the day, many enslaved workers adopted the surname of their master.
My name is Wilfred Roll.
Merrily Roll.
I am the son of Anvil Alexander Roll.
I'm Karen Roll.
My name is Ordnell Roll.
It is estimated that some 60% of Exuma residents still have the surname Roll. Just as the journeys made by Victorian plant hunters helped to establish many of the species found here at Bicton, so too the origin of this unique and beautiful shell collection is rooted in ties to colonies and empire from less enlightened times. Today, the shell house stands as a lasting reminder of an era when discovery and the quest for knowledge about the natural world beyond our own shores was still reserved for the privileged classes. But if you listen very carefully, you may just catch the sound of the sea, caught up in the shells all around you.